Hi there, I'm Jennifer Heinen, also known as Jennifer Jangles, and I'm here today at Sizzix to show you how to make the pirate doll. I've got a new die out. It's called Pirate and Ballerina, and it makes these two dolls all from one die. And we'll get started. I'm going to just show you the pirate because they are sewn basically the same way. There's just a little difference in the placement of appliques and the hair versus the hat, but the steps are all the same. And so at the end, I'll give you a little more information about the differences of the ballerina. So I've got my fabric pieces that I need for the pirate. We just need a face and arms, a hat, and a shirt and body fabric. And for the hair, the hat, and the eye patch in the eye, those fabrics I have already gone ahead and ironed paperback fusible webbing to them before I cut them. And then that way they're ready to go to be ironed on as an applique. I'll start with the shirt, and I'm going to fold my fabric in half because I want two pieces that align when we're sewing. This is for the arms, and so I need 4 arm pieces. So I'm just going to take my fabric and fold it in half and put it on here. It's going to be a little bumpy until I get to the die, but it'll flatten out when I get the cutting pad on. I'm going to lay the face, and then on the pirate, the hat fabric is what's on the back instead of the skin fabric. This fabric is for the little flaps on the hats. Once again, I'm going to fold it into quarters, place it on the die. The blue, I'm going to fold into quarters for the legs. And these are the pants. I'm just folding these in half too and placing it down here. Now the paper backed, it's best to put the fabric side down towards the blades if you can. Especially for the hat and the hair, that'll make your pirate have the appliques where you need them. And then the eye patch and the eye. And now I'm going to take this to my machine. I'm using the Big Shot Plus today. And I'm going to put a cutting pad on the bottom. And I'm going to put a cutting pad on the top. Okay, and I'm going to send this through. I'm going to angle my die just a tad. And that just helps the fabric have a cleaner cut when you're running it through the machine. And then we're just going to crank it and send it through. Now it's time to put the appliques on the pirate. So we're going to start with the hair and the hat. These, remember, have the paper backed webbing on them, so you want to just pull the paper off. And the hair just tucks just a little bit under the hat like this. And then the eye patch and the eye go on the face. Now I would take these over to the ironing board and press the appliques down, and then it's time to stitch them on. When you have the appliques sewn onto the pirate, it's time to sew a strap for the eye patch and a little mouth. You can see on this pirate, I just followed the line of the hat and did a line here, and then I gave him a little crooked smile. You can give him any kind of smile you want, and if you find it easier to draw it on with a pencil first, that's fine too. Okay, I've got the face sewn, and now it's time to assemble the pirate. First, we've got a shirt, so we'll pin this to the pirate's face. Right sides are facing, and we'll pin along here. And we'll do the same for the back, where the hat and the shirt will align, and we'll pin this here. Once we have this sewn, then we'll pin the pants along the bottom. And then we have 2 sets of arms that we want to have right sides together of the fabric, and we're going to stitch just around the curved part, and we're going to leave this part open. Same thing with the legs. We have 2 sets of legs. Once again, we'll sew all the way around here using a 1/4 inch seam allowance and leave the top open for turning. And then there are 2 hat flaps. Same thing. I've got to arrange these so the right sides are facing. And then we'll sew all the way around here, leaving this straight side open too. So I'm going to get these pinned and over to the sewing machine so I can get them sewn up. And I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance for this. the pirate body is together and the hat flaps are turned and the arms and legs. I filled these with fiberfill and just put a couple pins at the top to hold the fiberfill in. Now it's time to assemble the arms and the legs and the hat flaps onto the pirate. So I'm going to take the 2 hat flaps and just kind of flap them over, cross them how I want them, and then I'm going to just play around with where I want them to go. I want them down here at the end of the hat, so when I see kind of where I want them, then I'm going to just flip them over and place them inside the pirate this way and put a few pins in place to hold them. And then we've got arms and legs where the legs can go anywhere along the bottom of the body, and the arms usually go right about where the neck seam is. And I'm going to just flip them in also, pin them in place so they stay on the inside, and I'll do that with the other arm and the 2 legs so they're in. And then once these are all pinned in place, I'm going to put the body on the top. Now when it comes to the bottom with the legs, here's how I like to do it. I'm going to just sew across the bottom of the legs to hold them in place on the bottom of the body, and then I'm going to sew around this outer edge using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then that way the bottom won't be completely open for turning right sides out. I've got the pirate body sewn, so now I'm going to go around the edge and clip just these curves up to the thread. Okay, now once I've got this done, I'm going to turn the body right sides out. And he's got all of his little arms and legs in place. You can see his legs are hanging down here at the end, and I'm going to just fill him up with fiberfill and then tuck these raw edges in and hand stitch it closed. All right, I've got my pirate here. The last step that you're going to need to do is thread a piece of ribbon through the belt buckle and just hand stitch the belt buckle to the pirate, and he's finished. Now, to talk about the differences if you're going to make the ballerina instead of the pirate, the ponytails are done exactly the same way as the hat flaps. You just arrange them and turn them in, and then I tied bows to them on the outside when it was all turned and stitched. She's got some little rosy cheeks that I hand stitched on, just as you'll hand stitch the buckle onto the pirate. And she has a little bit of tulle and pom-pom trim. So when you're sewing the shirt to the little pants, you just put the trim in between those 2 layers and sew it. So then that way she's got a little skirt. Besides that, they're sewn exactly the same way. The great thing about this die is it also can be used as an applique for a pirate and a ballerina. As you can see here, I've got a couple pillows that I did cutting out the die. The fabric all had paper-backed fusible webbing on it as I cut it out, so I could iron it on, stitch around it, and I had a pillow. But it could be done for a quilt as well. And here is a little boy doll that I left the pirate hat off of and just turned him into a little boy to go with the little girl. I hope you have fun with this die, and there are a whole lot of possibilities of things you can make with it.